Captain Hyunwoo stared at the coffee maker in his small office. The machine had been broken for 2 weeks, but nobody on Titan Station cared enough to fix it. That was life on the outer rim. Everything broke slowly, and nobody rushed to repair anything. The communication station floated in space near Titan, one of Saturn's moons. It had been Hyunwoo's home for 3 years. His job was simple: listen to space traffic, log cargo ships, and report anything strange. Nothing strange ever happened. "Captain, you need to see this." Nari's voice came through the speaker on his desk. She sounded worried. Hyunwoo walked to the main control room. Nari sat at her station, staring at her screens. Her hands moved over the controls, but she looked confused. "What is it?" Hyunwoo asked. "I picked up a signal 20 minutes ago. Old coalition frequency. The encryption is something I've never seen before." Nari turned to face him. "Captain, this signal came from Earth." Hyunwoo felt cold. "That's not possible." Earth had been silent for 3 years. No messages, no ships, no contact at all. The colonies had sent probe ships to check on their home planet. None had returned. Most people believed Earth was dead, conquered by aliens or destroyed by some disaster. "Let me hear it," Hyunwoo said. Nari played the recording. Static filled the room, then fragments of words broke through. "Final diplomatic solution. Rejected. Defensive protocols. Active. What comes next? Always our choice." The signal cut to static again, then silence. "How long is the full message?" Hyunwoo asked. 17 minutes. Most of it is coded or damaged. I can only make out pieces." Nari pulled up data on her screen. "The transmission strength suggests it came from Sol's system, but Captain, look at this timestamp." Hyunwoo read the numbers. The message had been sent 6 hours ago, fresh from Earth. "Dong-min!" Hyunwoo called. The chief engineer appeared from behind a control panel, tools in his hands. Dong-min was older than both of them, with gray hair and tired eyes. He had been fixing things in space for 30 years. "What's the problem now?" Dong-min asked. "Can our equipment pick up signals from Earth?" Hyunwoo pointed at Nari's station. Dong-min walked over and looked at the data. He scratched his head. "Normally, no. Earth is too far away and we don't have the right receivers. But," he paused, "if someone used a really powerful transmitter, and if they aimed it right at us, maybe." "Why would Earth send a message to us?" Nari asked. "We're just a listening post." Hyunwoo thought about this. Titan Station was not important. They monitored local traffic and reported to Colony Command on Mars. Earth had bigger colonies, better stations, more important people to contact. "Play it again," he said. The fragments came through the speakers again. "Final diplomatic solution rejected. Defensive protocols now active. What comes next was always our choice to make." "It sounds like a farewell message," Nari said quietly. "Or a warning," Dong-min added. Hyunwoo walked to the main window. Outside, Titan's orange surface glowed in Saturn's light. The rings cast shadows across the moon's thick atmosphere. Space looked peaceful, but he knew it was not. 3 years ago, humanity had been at war with the Hegemony Alliance. 7 alien species had joined together to push humans out of their territory. The war had not gone well for humanity. Earth had signed a peace treaty, giving up colonies and accepting limits on human expansion. Then Earth went silent. "Nari, can you clean up more of the message?" Hyunwoo asked. "I'm trying. The encryption is complex. It might take hours, maybe days." She worked at her console. "Captain, there's something else. The signal didn't just come from Earth. It bounced off relay stations throughout the Sol system. Someone wanted to make sure this message reached the colonies." "All colonies?" Hyunwoo asked. "I think so. If they used this much power and this many relays, the signal probably reached every human settlement in known space." Dong-min sat down heavily in a chair. "After 3 years of silence, Earth sends one message to everyone. That's either really good news or really bad news. Hyunwoo agreed. He thought about the phrase, "What comes next was always our choice to make." That did not sound like surrender. It sounded like a decision had been made. "Captain," Nari said, "I'm getting more fragments. Listen to this part." New words came through the speakers. "The truce served its purpose. We are ready. The hegemony will learn. Humanity chooses its own path." Hyunwoo felt a chill. The truce served its purpose? What does that mean? "Maybe the peace treaty wasn't really about peace," Dongmin said. "Maybe Earth was buying time." "Time for what?" Nari asked. "I don't know. But if Earth has been preparing for something for 3 years, and now they're ready." Hyunwoo did not finish the sentence. The three of them stood in silence. Outside, Saturn's rings continued their slow dance around the giant planet. Inside the station, machines hummed quietly. Everything seemed normal, but Hyunwoo knew that something had changed. "Keep working on that message," he told Nari. "I want every word you can recover." "What should we tell Colony Command?" she asked. Hyunwoo thought about this. The message might mean Earth was alive and planning something big. It might mean Earth was about to die and wanted to say goodbye. Either way, the colonies needed to know. "Send everything to Mars. Tell them we have a priority message from Earth. Tell them." He paused. "Tell them humanity might not be done fighting after all." As Nari sent the report, Hyunwoo looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Earth had broken its silence. After 3 years of quiet, humanity's home world had something to say. He had a feeling the galaxy was about to listen. Admiral So Young stood on the bridge of the New Busan, watching stars move past the main window. The colony ship was 3 days into its journey to Earth. She held the decoded message in her hand, reading it for the 100th time. The full message was longer than the fragments Titan Station had first received. Nari had done good work recovering the lost words, but the complete message raised more questions than it answered. "Admiral, you should see this." Historian Jin Ho approached her with a data pad. He was a thin man who spent most of his time in the ship's archives. "I found something about the original truce." So Young took the pad and read. It was a report from 23 years ago when she had been much younger and the war with the Hegemony Alliance had just begun. "I remember this battle," she said. "Proxima Station. We lost 8,000 people that day." "Keep reading," Jin Ho said. The report described how human ships had been outmatched by alien technology. The Hegemony Alliance had weapons that could destroy human vessels from incredible distances. Their shields were stronger, their ships faster, their numbers overwhelming. Humanity had been losing the war badly. "Admiral, incoming message from Colony Command." The communications officer looked up from his station. "Admiral Tae-jun wants to speak with you." So Young walked to her private office and activated the secure channel. Admiral Tae-jun appeared on her screen. He was an old friend who now commanded the Mars Defense Fleet. "So Young, I've read the Earth message. What do you think it means?" Tae-jun asked. "I think Earth has been planning something for 3 years," she replied. "The question is what?" "I've been reviewing old intelligence reports. Before Earth went silent, there were strange supply requests, massive orders for rare metals, computer components, and manufacturing equipment, more than they needed for normal operations." So, Young leaned forward. "How much more?" "Enough to build a fleet. A big one." Tae-jun's expression was serious. "So, Young, what if Earth didn't surrender 3 years ago? What if they went silent to prepare for a real fight?" After the call ended, So Young walked to the ship's briefing room. Marine Colonel Hae-won was already there, studying tactical displays. Hae-won had fought in the original war against the hegemony. She knew what alien weapons could do to human soldiers. "Colonel, what's your opinion of the Earth message?" So Young asked. Hae-won looked up from her display. It sounds like someone who finished preparing for battle. What comes next was always our choice to make. That's not the language of defeat. But we know how the war ended. Earth signed the truce because we couldn't win. Did we? HFY brought up a holographic star map. Admiral, look at this. The truce gave the hegemony control of 12 star systems, but those systems were mostly empty space and dead planets. Earth kept all the colonies with large populations and industrial capacity. So Young studied the map. HFY was right. The treaty had looked like a defeat for humanity, but the actual terms had been surprisingly reasonable. The hegemony got territory they wanted, but not our best worlds, So Young said slowly. And the treaty limited human military expansion, but it didn't limit research and development. Exactly. For 3 years, Earth could research new weapons and build new ships without breaking any treaty terms, as long as they stayed inside human space. They were following the agreement. Jin Ho entered the briefing room carrying several data pads. Admiral, I found more information. During the truce negotiations, Earth's diplomatic team made some strange requests. What kind of requests? So Young asked. They wanted detailed technical specifications of hegemony weapons. They said it was for defensive planning. The hegemony agreed because they thought it would help Earth accept how outmatched humanity was. HFY laughed, but it was not a happy sound. They gave Earth blueprints for their own weapons. That's either very stupid or very arrogant. Maybe both, So Young said. Jinho, what else did you find? Communication records from the final negotiations. Earth's lead negotiator was Ambassador Wan Sik. Listen to this quote. This truce will give humanity time to consider our place in the galaxy. When we are ready, we will contact you with our final decision. When we are ready, So Young repeated. Not if. When? The three of them stood around the star map in silence. The implications were becoming clear. Earth had not surrendered. Earth had bought time to prepare for round 2 of the war. Admiral, HFY said, if Earth has been preparing for 3 years with captured alien technology, they might actually be able to fight the hegemony as equals now. Or better than equals, Jin Ho added. Humans are good at improving technology. If we had 3 years to study hegemony weapons and make them better. So Young thought about the message again. Defensive protocols now active. That suggested Earth was ready to fight. But there was something else in the message that worried her. Jin Ho, find everything you can about recent hegemony activity, ship movements, diplomatic communications, anything. I already started looking. 3 weeks ago, the Hegemony Alliance sent a large fleet toward Sol System. Intelligence reports suggest it was an ultimatum fleet. The hegemony was probably demanding Earth's complete surrender. How large? HFY asked. Over 10,000 ships, the entire hegemony battle fleet. So Young felt cold. 10,000 ships was enough to destroy every human colony in space. If the hegemony had decided to end the truce, they were not taking any chances. When did this fleet reach Earth? She asked. Jin Ho checked his data. Based on their speed and departure time, they should have arrived at Earth 2 days ago. 2 days ago, So Young repeated. And yesterday, Earth sent that message to all the colonies. The timing was not a coincidence. The hegemony fleet had reached Earth, delivered their ultimatum, and Earth had responded. The message to the colonies was either a farewell or a declaration of war. Admiral, the communications officer called from the bridge, we're receiving a priority transmission from the Outer Rim. Multiple colonies are reporting strange readings from the direction of Sol System. So Young, HFY, and Jin Ho hurried. To the bridge. The communications officer put the reports on the main screen. Energy discharges detected from Sol System. Pattern suggests large-scale combat operations. Duration, approximately 4 hours. Current status, all energy signatures have stopped. 4 hours of fighting, then silence. Admiral, Haywan said quietly. A battle between Earth and 10,000. Hegemony ships should have lasted days or weeks. Either Earth was completely destroyed in 4 hours, or Earth won so decisively that the battle was over in 4 hours, So Young finished. She looked at the message from Earth one more time. The truce served its purpose. We are ready. The hegemony will learn. Humanity chooses its own path. Set course for Earth. Maximum speed, So Young ordered. I want to know what humanity chose. Captain Tejo guided his scout ship through the outer edge of the Sol system. He had been a pilot for 15 years, but nothing had prepared him for what he saw now. Admiral So Young, you need to see this transmission, he said into his communicator. Behind him, the new Busan and 3 other colony ships waited at a safe distance. So Young had sent Tejo ahead to scout the system before bringing the main fleet closer to Earth. What are you seeing, Captain? So Young's voice came through the speakers. Ma'am, someone turned the asteroid belt into a weapon. Tejo sent his camera feed to the fleet. The asteroid belt that had once been a loose collection of rocks and ice was now something else. Massive metal structures connected the larger asteroids. Weapon platforms the size of cities floated in perfect formation. Energy collectors focused sunlight into beams that could cut through planets. Captain, are those stations active? So Young asked. Yes, ma'am. I'm reading power signatures from hundreds of installations. Someone has been very busy out here. Tejo flew deeper into the system. Mars appeared on his screens, but it was not the Mars he remembered. The red planet's surface was covered with mining operations. Huge ships carried materials into space, feeding the construction projects throughout the system. Mars has been strip-mined, he reported. The entire planet is one big factory now. Dr. Yoon Seo's voice joined the communication. She was the fleet's xenobiologist, an expert on alien technology. Captain, can you get closer to one of those weapon platforms? I want to analyze the construction. Tejo approached a massive battle station built into a large asteroid. The station bristled with weapons he did not recognize. Some looked human-made, others appeared to be based on alien designs, but many were completely new. Doctor, I'm sending. You detailed scans now? Incredible, Yoon Seo said after a moment. This is human engineering combined with hegemony technology, but improved. These weapons are more powerful than anything the aliens had during the war. Navigator Sang-min spoke from his position on the new Busan. Captain, I'm calculating the positioning of all these installations. They're not randomly placed. Someone designed the entire system as a defensive network. How defensive? So Young asked. Admiral, if a hostile fleet entered this system, they would face crossfire from every direction. The weapon platforms are positioned to create overlapping fields of fire with no safe zones. Any attacking force would be destroyed before reaching Earth. Tejo continued toward the inner system. Jupiter's moons had been transformed into industrial complexes even larger than Mars. Massive shipyards orbited the gas giant, though they appeared to be empty now. I'm detecting debris fields near Jupiter, Tejo reported. Lots of debris. Different metal compositions, some I don't recognize. Can you get closer? Yoon Seo asked. Tejo flew to the nearest debris field. His ship's scanners analyzed the wreckage. What he found made his blood run cold. Doctor, Admiral, you need to hear this. I'm looking at the remains of hegemony ships, thousands of them. The debris field stretched for millions of kilometers. Pieces of alien warships floated in space, twisted by weapons that had torn them apart. Some debris showed signs of energy, weapons. Other pieces looked like they had been crushed by incredible force. Captain, how many ships? So Young asked. Tejo ran the calculations. Based on the debris patterns and ship fragments, I estimate 10,000 vessels were destroyed here, maybe more. Silence filled the communication channel. 10,000 ships. Was the entire hegemony battle fleet all destroyed? So Young asked quietly. Yes, ma'am. I'm not detecting any intact hegemony vessels. But Admiral, that's not the strangest part. What do you mean? I'm analyzing the debris spread patterns. This wasn't a long battle. Based on how the wreckage scattered, the entire hegemony fleet was destroyed in less than 4 hours. Most of it in the first hour. Dr. Yoon Seo's voice was filled with amazement. Captain, that's impossible. The Hegemony Alliance had the most powerful military in the galaxy. Their ships had shields that could resist anything humans built 3 years ago. Well, they couldn't resist whatever Earth built in the last 3 years, Taeho replied. He continued flying toward Earth, passing more debris fields and defensive installations. The closer he got to humanity's homeworld, the more impressive the fortifications became. I'm approaching Earth's orbital space now, Taeho reported. What he saw took his breath away. Earth was surrounded by a network of space stations unlike anything in human history. Each station was the size of a small city, connected to others by massive transport tubes. The stations formed defensive rings around the planet, layer after layer of protection. Admiral, Earth is completely surrounded by orbital fortresses. I count over 50 major installations, plus hundreds of smaller platforms. Any signs of recent battle damage? So Young asked. Negative. The installations appear undamaged. But Admiral, I'm picking up massive energy readings from all the stations. They're fully powered and operational. Captain, this is Admiral Kyung-soo. A new voice joined the communication, speaking with Earth's accent. Please identify yourself and state your business in Sol system. Taeho felt relief at hearing a human voice. Admiral, this is Captain Taeho of the Colonial Fleet, scouting mission for Admiral So Young. We received Earth's message and came to investigate. Captain Taeho, you are cleared to approach Earth orbital control. Follow the navigation beacon to docking station 12. Admiral So Young, your fleet is welcome in Sol system, but please maintain your current distance until we can arrange proper clearance. Admiral Kyung-soo, So Young's voice came through the channel. Can you explain what happened here? We found debris from the entire Hegemony battle fleet. Admiral, that is a long story. We will explain everything when you dock. For now, let me say this. The Hegemony Alliance demanded our complete surrender 3 days ago. We gave them our answer. Taeho followed the navigation beacon toward Earth. As he flew closer, he could see the planet itself had changed. Lights covered areas that had been dark before. New cities stretched across continents. The population had grown massively in 3 years. Admiral So Young, Taeho said, Earth is not the same planet we left 3 years ago. Someone has been very busy down there. Captain, Admiral Kyung-soo said, Earth used the truce period well. We had 3 years to prepare for the hegemony's return. When they came with demands for surrender, we were ready. Ready with what? So Young asked. Admiral, we learned everything the hegemony could teach us about warfare. Then we improved on it. The aliens thought they were the strongest military power in the galaxy. Admiral Kyung-soo paused, and when he spoke again, his voice was cold and certain. They were wrong. Admiral So Young walked through the corridors of Seoul Station, Earth's massive orbital command center. The station was bigger than some colonies she had visited. Everything was new, built with technology that seemed impossible just 3 years. Admiral Kyung-soo led her group through the station's main levels. He was younger than So Young had expected, maybe 40 years old, but his eyes looked much older. The eyes of someone who had made difficult decisions. Admiral, your message. Mention defensive protocols, So Young said. This looks more like preparation for conquest. The best defense is making sure your enemies can never threaten you again, Kyung-soo replied. Let me show you what we learned during the truce. They entered a large briefing room where Dr. Mi-young was waiting. She was a small woman with short, black hair and hands that moved constantly as she spoke. Charts and displays covered every wall. Admiral So Young, welcome back to Earth, Dr. Mi-young said. I led the research division during our preparation period. What would you like to know first? How did you destroy 10,000 hegemony ships in 4 hours? So Young asked directly. Dr. Mi Young smiled, but it was not a happy expression. We cheated. The hegemony thought they understood human capabilities based on our performance during the First War. They were wrong. She activated a holographic display showing the recent battle. The hegemony fleet appeared as red dots, approaching Earth in standard attack formation. The aliens brought their entire battle fleet to force our surrender. They expected us to see their overwhelming numbers and give up immediately. What happened? Instead, Colonel Haywan asked. She had been quiet during the tour, but her military training made her focus on tactics. We let them get close enough to commit fully to the attack. Then we activated defenses they didn't know existed. The display showed the battle in fast motion. The hegemony fleet moved toward Earth, spreading out to surround the planet. Then the asteroid belt lit up with weapon fire. The alien ships began disappearing in groups. Your asteroid installations? So Young asked. That was just the first layer, Dr. Mi Young said. Watch what happens next. On the display, Jupiter's moons began firing massive energy beams across the solar system. The beams curved through space, guided by gravitational fields that bent their paths. Hegemony ships thousands of kilometers away were destroyed by weapons, fired from Jupiter orbit. Gravity-guided energy weapons, Dr. Mi Young explained. We learned the physics from captured hegemony technology, then improved the design by factor of 10. President Wan Ho entered the briefing room during the display. He was an older man who looked tired, as if he had not slept well in years. Behind him walked Colonel Yunji, a Special Forces officer with scars on her face. Admiral So Young, President Wan Ho said, I'm glad the colonies sent someone I can trust. We need to discuss Earth's new position in the galaxy. What new position? So Young asked. Colonel Yunji answered instead of the president. The position of strength. For 3 years, we infiltrated hegemony space, learned their weaknesses, and prepared for their return. The battle you saw was just the final step. Infiltrated how? Colonel Haywan asked. Small teams, deep reconnaissance missions. We learned their military codes, mapped their supply lines, and identified their key leaders. Yunji's voice was calm, professional. When the battle started, half the hegemony fleet was already doomed. We had sabotaged their ship's critical systems weeks before they reached Earth. So Young felt cold. You were inside their ships before the battle? Inside their ships, their space stations, their command centers. The hegemony never expected humans to be capable of deep infiltration. They thought we were too primitive for advanced espionage. Dr. Mi Young continued the briefing. While Colonel Yunji's teams gathered intelligence, my research division was developing new weapons and defenses. We had 3 years and unlimited resources. Unlimited resources? So Young asked. The entire planet was converted to war production, President Wan Ho explained. Every factory, every mine, every research facility worked toward one goal, making sure humanity would never be vulnerable again. Admiral Kyung-soo brought up another display. Admiral, let me show you the current strategic situation. The new display showed the local region of the galaxy. Human space was marked in blue, but the blue area was much larger than So Young remembered. After we destroyed the hegemony battle fleet, we didn't stop there, Kyung-soo explained. We sent our own fleets to occupy key hegemony worlds. Their remaining forces surrendered without major resistance. You conquered the hegemony alliance? So Young asked in shock. We liberated their territory from an aggressive military alliance, President Wan Ho corrected. The individual species within the hegemony are not our enemies. Their military leaders, who threatened human extinction, were our enemies. What happened to those leaders? Colonel Haywan asked. Colonel Eun-ji answered. They are no longer in positions of authority. So Young understood. The hegemony's military command structure had been eliminated, either captured or killed during the rapid campaign that followed the battle at Earth. Admiral, Dr. Mi Young said, would you like to see our current military capabilities? Show me. The display changed to show Earth's orbital space in real time. Hundreds of warships moved between the defensive stations. They were larger than any ship So Young had ever seen, bristling with weapons and armor. Our new fleet is based on improved hegemony designs, but with human engineering modifications. Each ship is more powerful than anything the aliens built during their 1,000-year expansion. How many ships? So Young asked. Currently operational? About 3,000 heavy warships plus support vessels. Under construction? Another 5,000. The numbers were staggering. Earth was building a fleet larger than any military force in galactic history. What do you plan to do with 8,000 warships? So Young asked. President Wan Ho and Admiral Kyung-soo exchanged looks. The president spoke first. Admiral, the truce taught us something important. When you are weak, others will try to destroy you. When you negotiate from weakness, you get terms that guarantee future conflict. The new doctrine is simple, Admiral Kyung-soo added. Humanity will never, again, be in a position where our survival depends on alien mercy. We will be strong enough to protect ourselves and our allies. What allies? So Young asked. Colonel Yoon-ji smiled for the first time during the briefing. The former hegemony species are very interested in human friendship now. They have seen what happens to civilizations that threaten humanity. They're afraid of us, So Young said. Good, President Wan Ho replied. Fear prevents wars better than treaties do. The galaxy is more peaceful now than it has been in centuries. Peaceful because everyone is terrified of what humanity might do? Peaceful because everyone understands that aggression against humanity or our friends will result in total destruction of the aggressor. Admiral Kyung-soo's voice was matter-of-fact. We have made the cost of threatening humanity higher than any species is willing to pay. So Young looked around the room at Earth's new leaders. They were not the same humans who had signed the truce 3 years ago. These people had transformed humanity from a species fighting for survival into the dominant power in their region of space. What comes next? She asked. That depends on the colonies, President Wan Ho said. Earth is offering protection and partnership to all human settlements. In return, we ask for cooperation in maintaining galactic stability. And if the colonies prefer independence, then they will remain independent under Earth's protection, Admiral Kyung-soo said. But the galaxy has learned that threatening any human settlement means war with all of humanity. So Young realized the full scope of what Earth had accomplished. In 3 years, humanity had gone from desperate survivors to galactic hegemons. The question was whether this transformation was salvation or the beginning of something darker. Ambassador Jun Young stood on the balcony of the human embassy on Ketar Prime, looking out over what had once been the capital world of the Hegemony Alliance. 6 months had passed since Earth's victory, and the changes were dramatic. The city below bustled with activity, but it was different now. Human ships landed at the spaceport every day, bringing supplies and administrators. Alien species that had once ruled over others now waited in lines to request meetings with human officials. Ambassador, the Vorthak delegation is here for their appointment, his aide called from inside the embassy. Jun Young walked back into his office. The Vorthak had once been the military backbone of the Hegemony Alliance. Their warriors were feared throughout the galaxy for their strength and ruthless tactics. Now their representatives sat nervously in human waiting rooms, hoping for favorable trade agreements. General Seung-ho was already in the meeting room when Jun Young arrived. The general commanded the human occupation forces on 12 former hegemony worlds. He was a practical man who preferred simple solutions to complex problems. General, how are our new friends behaving? Jun Young asked. No major incidents this month. The local populations are adapting to human administration. Production quotas are being met, and civil order is stable. 3 Vorthak officials entered the room. They were tall, gray-skinned beings with 4 arms and eyes that could see in multiple light spectrums. Before the war, they had commanded fleets that terrorized entire sectors of space. Ambassador Jun Young, the lead Vorthak said in careful, human speech. We are grateful for this meeting. Our species wishes to discuss increased cooperation with the human commonwealth. What kind of cooperation? Jun Young asked. Military cooperation. The Vorthak have always been warriors. We offer our services to help maintain galactic peace under human leadership. General Seong Ho leaned forward. You want to join our military forces? Yes, General. The Vorthak understand that resistance to human authority is futile. We choose cooperation instead. Our warriors can serve human interests in exchange for protected status for our worlds. Jun Young studied the aliens. 6 months ago, they had been trying to destroy humanity. Now they wanted to serve in human armies. The transformation was complete and disturbing. I will consider your proposal, he told them. You may return next week for our answer. After the Vorthak left, Engineer Boram entered the room. She had been working on integrating captured alien technology into human systems. Her projects were turning former enemy weapons into tools for human expansion. Ambassador, I have the monthly report on technology integration, Boram said, handing him a data pad. Jun Young read the report. In 6 months, human engineers had reverse-engineered most hegemony technologies and improved many of them. Faster-than-light communications, advanced medical equipment, and industrial systems that could transform entire worlds in weeks instead of years. How long before we finish analyzing all their technology? He asked. Another year, maybe 2. But, Ambassador, we're not just copying their designs anymore. We're creating completely new technologies based on what we've learned. Some of our recent developments are beyond anything the hegemony ever achieved. Such as planetary engineering, systems that can make dead worlds habitable in months, weapons that can destroy entire star systems from thousands of light years away, transportation networks that could connect every human colony instantaneously. Jun Young felt uncomfortable with the implications. Boram, should we be building weapons that can destroy star systems? Admiral Kyung-soo believes we should build them before someone else does. If humanity has the ultimate weapons, no one will dare challenge us, General Seong-ho agreed. Ambassador, peace through superior firepower works. The galaxy has been quieter in the last 6 months than it was in the previous century. A communication alert interrupted their discussion. Captain Hyun-woo appeared on the room's main screen, transmitting from Titan Station where he still monitored deep space communications. Ambassador Jun Young, I have an urgent report. We're detecting large fleet movements in the outer regions. Species that were not part of the Hegemony Alliance are forming a new coalition. How large? General Sung-ho asked. Preliminary estimates suggest 15 species, combining their fleets into a force of maybe 25,000 ships. They're calling themselves the Liberation Front. Liberation from what? Jun Young asked. From human dominance, sir. They're claiming that humanity has become a threat to galactic freedom. Jun Young exchanged looks with General Seong-ho and Boram. This was what they had feared might happen. Humanity's rapid rise to power had scared other species into forming. A new alliance against Earth. Captain, what's Earth's response? Jun Young asked. I just received new orders from Admiral Kyung-soo. All human fleets are to prepare for full mobilization. The message ends with this quote. We gave the galaxy a choice between cooperation and conquest. They have chosen conquest. The screen went dark. The 3 humans sat in silence thinking about what this meant. 25,000 ships, General Seong-ho said eventually. That's more than twice the size of the old Hegemony fleet. But we destroyed the Hegemony fleet in 4 hours, Boram pointed out. Our technology is even better now. The question is whether we want to become the species that destroys entire civilizations to maintain dominance, Jun Young said quietly. We didn't choose this position, General Seong-ho replied. Earth made these decisions to ensure human survival. Now we have to live with the consequences. A few hours later, Jun Young received a direct communication from Earth. President Wan Ho appeared on his private screen, looking even more tired than before. "Ambassador, you've heard about the Liberation Front?" "Yes, Mr. President. What are our options?" "The same options we had with the hegemony. Diplomatic solution or military solution. But this time we're negotiating from a position of overwhelming strength. Sir, some colonies are questioning whether we've become the thing we fought against. Are we the aggressors now?" President Wan Ho was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was sad but determined. "Jun Young, I've asked myself that question every day for 6 months. Maybe we have become what we fought against. But the alternative was extinction. Given the same choice again, I would make the same decisions." "What about the Liberation Front?" "We're sending them a message tomorrow. The same choice we gave the hegemony. Accept human leadership and live in peace, or face the consequences of resistance. And if they choose resistance, then the galaxy will learn again that threatening humanity leads to total destruction. We chose truce once, when we were weak. We chose war when threatened with extinction. Now we choose what comes next, for everyone." After the call ended, Jun Young walked back to the balcony. The alien city below looked peaceful in the afternoon light. Children of different species played together in the streets. Markets sold goods from dozens of worlds. Life continued under human protection. But he knew that across the galaxy, 25,000 warships were gathering to challenge human authority. Soon, Earth would have to decide whether to crush this new alliance or find some other solution. The irony was not lost on him. Humanity had become so powerful that other species feared them the way humans had once feared the hegemony alliance. The cycle was repeating, with humanity in the role of the dominant power. Tomorrow, Earth would broadcast its final message to the Liberation Front and to every species in the galaxy. The message would be simple: accept human leadership or face human wrath. Jun Young wondered what the galaxy would choose. He also wondered what humanity was becoming in its quest to never be vulnerable again. As the sun set on Qatar Prime, he thought about the words Earth had sent 6 months ago. "We chose truce once, when we were weak. We chose war when threatened, with extinction. Now we choose what comes next for everyone." Humanity had indeed chosen what came next. The galaxy would live under human protection, whether it wanted to or not. The question was whether this was salvation or simply a new form of tyranny with a human face.